The operations presented in this video are meant to be instructional to ensure quality construction. This video is not intended to provide a comprehensive overview of safety procedures. All parties should ensure that they are familiar with and follow all safety requirements, policies, and procedures that apply to their specific operation.
Concrete pavement patching is the full depth repair of concrete pavements using either normal strength or accelerated strength concrete. Patches are constructed at a minimum of 1 lane width and 6 feet in length. The applicable documents needed for concrete pavement patching are Section 516 of Publication 408, RC 26M of Publication 72, Approved Quality Control Plan, and Approved Concrete Mix Design. Concrete pavement patching is used to repair localized distresses. The benefits of concrete pavement patching include restored rideability, restored structural integrity. It extends service life and prevents further deterioration. However, concrete pavement patching does have some limitations. It does not address structural inadequacy. It's not a long-term solution for material-related distresses. It's not practical for widespread deterioration, and it's a major cost item on rehabilitation projects. There are different types of patches. There is a Type A patch, which is between 6 and 20 feet long, a Type B patch, which is between 20.1 and 65 feet long, and a Type C patch, which is between 65.1 and 500 feet long. Be sure to check the plans and specifications to determine what type of patches will be placed and their locations. Repair boundaries. All repairs are full lane width. Minimum repair lengths are greater than 6 feet. There should be a minimum 6 feet between patch joint and original pavement joint. Regardless of a patch type, when patching adjacent to an existing joint, remove a minimum of 2 feet into adjacent slab to avoid existing dowel bars. When deterioration extends more than 2 feet into the adjacent slab, remove a minimum of 6 feet and maintain existing joint at original location. Pavement patch joints contain a minimum of 11 epoxy-coated dowel bars spaced at 12 inches. Pavements 10 inches or less require 1 1/4 inch diameter, and pavements greater than 10 inches require 1 1/2 diameter dowel bars. Concrete materials. Normal strength concrete is Class AA paving concrete. It has a 7-day minimum compressive strength 3,000 psi. A 28-day minimum compressive strength 3,750 psi, and is not placed if ambient air temperature falls below 40 degrees. Accelerated strength concrete is Class AA accelerated patching concrete. It is used in areas where return to service is important. It has a minimum compressive strength 1,200 psi at the time of opening to traffic. This is typically achieved in 4 to 7 hours. If 1,200 psi is not met at the time of opening to traffic, concrete is defective, which means remove and replace the concrete at no cost to the department. There is no other option. 28-day minimum compressive strength 3,750 psi is not placed if ambient air temperature falls below 45 degrees. Concrete procedure. We're going to start with concrete sawing. Full-depth saw cuts are performed at the perimeter of the patch using a diamond saw blade. Make all required full-depth longitudinal saw cuts along the perimeter of the patch prior to making any full-depth transverse saw cuts. Make full-depth transverse saw cuts at the locations marked on the pavement surface. Full-depth saw cuts at the patch limits will be allowed to extend transversely into the adjacent pavement up to the full depth of the pavement plus 2 inches. Additional full-depth transverse saw cuts are allowed to facilitate slab removal. However, the additional transverse saw cuts cannot extend transversely into the adjacent pavement to remain in place. It should be noted that after the existing pavement has been saw cut, do not allow traffic to drive on the patch areas for more than 72 hours. Concrete slab removal, the lift-out method. After saw cuts have been made, metal lift pins are hammered into drill holes in the distressed slab and hooked with chains to equipment capable of vertically lifting the distressed slab. The concrete is then lifted out in 1 or more pieces and placed into dump trucks for transfer to an approved waste site. The lift-out method is preferred because it provides the least chance for damage to the adjacent pavement. If the adjacent pavement to remain in place is damaged during the pavement removal process by either breakback or spalling, the damaged area will be repaired at a minimum with a full-depth concrete pavement patch at no additional expense to the department. Safety is extremely important when using the lift-out method since this process requires the use of lifting pins and heavy lifting equipment. Workers need to stand clear of the slabs being lifted out and should never walk under a slab that is suspended in the air. Workers also need to be cautious when placing the slabs. Repair area preparation. It's important to try and not to disturb the subbase material as much as possible. If the surface area of the subbase is disturbed during removal operation, recompact the surface of the subbase using small vibratory compactors. This next step is a very important one. Load transfer provisions. Drilling recommendations. Dowel holes are drilled into the face of the existing pavement on 12-inch centers across the joint face at half the existing pavement depth. No tolerances allowed. Drill dowel holes slightly larger than the diameter of the dowel bars. Use frame-mounted gang drills, no hand drills or drills that rest on base. Hole location may be moved transversely by plus or minus 1 inch to avoid existing reinforcing steel. Dowel bar placement. Blow debris and dust from holes using compressed air. Place Bulletin 15 approved anchoring material in rear of dowel holes. Insert dowel into the hole and rotate 3 to 5 complete rotations to properly purge air voids and obtain uniform coating of anchoring material that should come to the front face of the patch joint. This is a very important step. Trowel any excess anchoring material flush with joint face. Install grout retention discs if desired. Remove grout retention rings prior to placing the concrete. Apply bond breaker to exposed dowel ends, making certain to apply a uniform coat with no clumping. New patch joint placement. Place Bulletin 15 approved dowel baskets at each transverse joint in the existing concrete pavement as shown in RC 26M. Place 8 anchor stakes in each 12-foot wide dowel basket, 4 on each side, to provide sufficient anchorage to prevent movement of the basket assembly. Make all joints normal to the center line of the roadway. Material placement. Upon arrival at the job site, sample and test the concrete in accordance with the specifications and contractor's approved QC plan. If test results of the concrete meet the specification requirements, place concrete into prepared patch area. Consolidation of the concrete using a vibrator is critical. Care must be taken to not over-vibrate the concrete. Carefully vibrate the concrete along sides, around dowels, and in the corners of the repair area. Do not use water in the aid of finishing, as this could cause the concrete to fail prematurely. Use a roller screed parallel to the center line of the pavement in a transverse direction to ensure that the concrete surface is flush with the adjacent concrete. Final finish of the concrete. For Type A and B patches, finish the surface of the patch to match the existing pavement, including existing wheel ruts. If the contract includes diamond grinding, the matching of the wheel ruts is not necessary. For Type C patches, taper the wheel ruts at both ends of the patch to a straight pavement cross slope within the patch, with a minimum transition length of 20 feet. Final texture of the concrete. Texture Type A and B patches to correspond with the texture of the surrounding roadway. Texture Type C patches transversely the full width of the pavement patch using a 10-foot tying rake. Ride acceptance. Use a 10-foot straight edge to test the surface of the patch area longitudinally. Use a 10-foot straight edge to test longitudinally across the patch joints. Correct any high point or depressions more than 1/8 of an inch. Curing of concrete. Normal strength. Apply cure immediately after the completion of the finishing operation. Apply either wet burlap or white pigmented spray cure at a rate of 150 square feet per gallon. Accelerated strength. Apply white pigmented spray cure at a rate of 150 square feet per gallon. Cover the patch area with heated mats or insulated mats if the ambient air temperature drops below 80 degrees during the curing period. Monitor the cure every hour to assure that there is not a temperature change. Opening to traffic. Normal strength. Open to traffic once the concrete has attained a minimum compressive strength of 3,000 psi. Accelerated strength. Obtain samples for every 100 cubic yards of fraction thereof from the day's placement and from the last mixer load of the day. Perform compressive strength testing at the time of opening to traffic, but no more than 7 hours after the test specimens were molded. Concrete that has not attained a minimum compressive strength of 1,200 psi at the time of opening to traffic is considered defective.